matched up against Embiid in his career, but those 4 games were when he was with the Pelicans, so first time in a Lakers uniform facing Joel Embiid. Doris Burke will be on the call for Lakers-Sixers, 7:30 Eastern time on ESPN, and she joins us now on SportsCenter. Doris, you know, some assume that LeBron and the Lakers would ease their way into the regular season, but that hasn't been the case here. Why have they played so well so far?
It's incredible to think when you look at the minutes for both Anthony Davis and LeBron James, both down a couple of minutes. Newcomers with Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, and Wesley Matthews. But I think you have to start with LeBron James. In year 18, he has been nothing short of remarkable. He's at the top of the list for MVP candidates, shooting a career-high threes, making a career-high in threes, both percentage and the total number. I think you also have to look at the bench. You know, and I asked Frank Vogel just a minute ago, the play of Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, KCP, how much of that is dictated by that they are now champions? They're all shooting lights out from three-point territory. He said it's a combination of things. Second year in a system, certainly better reads, able to understand the offensive flow, but their bench now third in the league, so this team got better, and the additions are still figuring it out. It's really scary for opponents right now against Los Angeles.
Yeah, they're doing all this, too, with LeBron's minutes down and Anthony Davis's minutes down, so that bench is doing some good work. Now, for the Sixers, how is Doc Rivers handling these 2 stars, that is Embiid and Ben Simmons, compared to how he handled Kawhi and Paul George last year with the Clippers?
You know, we asked Tobias Harris about the influence of Doc Rivers. He said, number one, we're all confident in the structure and the organization, but you build and start things with Joel Embiid, number 1 in the league in post-up opportunities, number 1 in the league in percentage of points out of the post, both passing and assists. And to me, Kevin, this is all about Ben Simmons on the offensive end. He'll guard 1 through 4. He absorbs a great responsibility nightly. If you needed him to guard a center, he could for a stretch. But to me, the regression in his shooting outside of the paint is something to keep an eye on as this season wears on. I don't need him to be a 25 points per game scorer, but I think there's something going on here. He needs to be more aggressive as a scorer and not just in spurts.
You are my spirit animal, Doris. Amen. Looking forward to hearing you on the call tonight, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN as we watch Ben Simmons warming up, Ryan.
All right, let's bring in my spirit animal, Tim Legler, and go around the NBA. Legs, I want to start you off with Philly, the top team in the East, hosting the top team in the West, the Lakers. What are you watching for in this one?
Well, you're talking about a guy in Joel Embiid who very arguably could be the MVP in the league to this point, but he has played against a lot of smaller front lines. So I am really anxious to see, can Joel Embiid continue to have this sort of dominance and success against a bigger front line and against arguably the best defensive team in the NBA. I want to see what the Lakers throw at Joel Embiid and if he's able to play through that first. And secondly, can he get the support he's going to need? And that means you might need 20 plus out of Tobias Harris. You might need, 15 plus out of Ben Simmons. One of those 2 guys, or maybe both of them, have to play at an all-star level, I think, to support the defense that Joel Embiid is going to see tonight in this one. These are 2 heavyweights and 2 of the best teams in the league, and I think it's a great preview. For me, it's a barometer game for Philadelphia.
All right, the Nets are in Atlanta facing the Hawks. Trae Young has scored at least 35 in 3 straight games. What do the Nets need to show you tonight?
Evolution defensively, I've seen better effort recently, particularly in the Miami game the other night, although Miami was shorthanded. But this is a team, Atlanta, that beat them twice earlier in the year. They put up 145 points on them in one of those games. So I want to see the continued effort of the Nets and understanding they're not just going to beat teams and win a championship because of great shot making. They're a team that's going to have to clamp down. So let's see if they can do it against a pretty high-powered Atlanta offense. Every night I watch the Nets, I'm looking for progress on that end of the floor.
Okay, very deep team there. And the Jazz have won 9 straight, but will be without Donovan Mitchell tonight when they host Luka and the Mavs. How do you view both of these teams?
Yeah, 2 teams in opposite places right now relative to where I thought they'd be at the start of the year. Both teams I thought would be contenders, and Utah's doing it. They're the hottest team in the NBA, 9 straight. I just look at their team and I say, this is a legit contender. Would not shock me to see the Utah Jazz, if they stay healthy, make a run for the Western Conference Finals at least. I don't think anybody can get by the Lakers, so I think everybody's playing for second place in the West. I think the Jazz are in that category. For Dallas, very disappointing, and I think Luka Doncic is starting to get a little bit frustrated because they can't generate offense when he's off the floor, and it's affecting maybe how Rick Carlisle wants to use him. There's no way that team should be a 500 team with one of the best players in the NBA, but that's where they are right now. Their offense hasn't been nearly as good as it was a year ago.
Okay, we'll see if they can turn it around tonight against Utah. Legs, thanks so much.
Reminding you, Ben Simmons and the Sixers come.
LeBron has led the Lakers to the best record in the NBA, including a perfect 10-0 record on the road. He's also one of 3 players averaging 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, along with Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic. As for Embiid, he's played a key role in the 76ers leading the Eastern Conference. He ranks first in player efficiency rating, which is a good sign as 8 of the last 9 winners of the MVP finished first in PER. Looking at the odds, LeBron moved to second to win MVP according to the Caesars Sportsbook by William Hill, following his 46-point performance on Monday. Embiid sits 6th on the list with both players trailing Luka Doncic, who is currently the favorite. We bring in my man Michael Wilbon right now, my partner in crime. Let's get right to it. Mike Wilbon, who's your MVP right now?
LeBron James, Stephen A. Okay. The fact that he's played in all 18 games is amazing to me. He didn't have to, given, age, wear and tear, number of years played, the status that he has. He could have said, wait a minute, I'm going to have 2 or 3 planned absences. He hadn't done that. So this has, to me, been the number 3 eye-popping thing LeBron has ever done. Number 1, winning that championship in Cleveland, and number 2, 2018 season when he had no squad and he still got to the finals. This would be the 3rd thing, playing in all of these games, Stephen A., the way he has so far.
So you're just going to ignore the 45 and 15 he dropped as a member of the Miami Heat before he ever won a title. Game 6 in Boston at TD Bank. They down 3-2, and LeBron looks like a man possessed and drops 45 and 15 on KG and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and Rondo. You're just going to ignore that?
No, but he was 7 years younger. I know that you agree. If LeBron had said, I'm going to take a couple of nights here, I'm going to just ease into this, wade into this, get into it in the middle of January, we would have been okay with that, given that it seems like he played to Halloween. But he didn't say that.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What are you trying to do? Give him an award for being Jack LaLanne of basketball? I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean? He's in good condition.
I don't want to call LeBron Jack LaLanne, Stephen A. But no, I'm just saying, look, the fact that they've got the best record, they're undefeated on the road, and I know it's early. There are no playoffs that have been contested. Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying I'm a little bit surprised that he's taken this tact, impressed as hell that he's taken this tact, and the fact that he and Anthony Davis are doing this right out the chute. You mean to tell me you thought they were going to get off to a fast start and hold this thing as we get to the end of January?
I'm not saying all of that. I'm just sitting up there and saying I'm not just playing devil's advocate here. I know that LeBron James deserves a lot of credit, but I didn't expect you to say just because he played like he's Jack LaLanne and something like that. You stay right there, Mike Wilbon. I'll get right back to you. You ain't going anywhere. Listen, we got a lot to discuss, especially when it comes to Joel Embiid. When he's played this season, the 76ers are 12-2, averaging over 117 points per game. However, when Embiid has not been in the lineup, Philadelphia has struggled, going 0-4 and losing by an average margin of 13 points. This includes a 15-point loss to the second worst team in the NBA right now, the Detroit Pistons, on Monday night. Let's bring in the wonderful, incomparable Doris Burke, who will be on the call for tonight's game between the Sixers and the Lakers. Before I even get into the game, Doris Burke, I mean, that guy Mike Breen that you're scheduled to work with tonight, put a little note there over your, right behind your right arm, talking about you were a ball hog. Is that what it says? Is that what it says?
It's complete fallacy, Stephen A. You know that. I left there as the all-time assist leader.
There you go. There you go. Listen, let's get into tonight's game. I mean, when you see the Sixers and what they're looking like this far, how impressed have you been with them? What's different about them now compared to what they were last year, Doris?
You know what, Stephen A., the first thing that strikes me, and Tobias Harris told us this just a short time ago, is how comfortable this group is with the structure and the organization that Doc Rivers has put in. Listen, they know who they are and how they win, and that begins with Joel Embiid. This guy's played at an MVP level. He has anchored an excellent defense. You've got Tobias and Seth Curry, so you've added incredible amount of shooting that elevates Joel's game. The one concern I have is Ben Simmons, and he nightly takes a great responsibility on the defensive end. But Ben Simmons, to me, has got to find his way offensively. Career low in points, career low in field goal attempts, and career low in field goal percentage. If they're a championship team, he's got to figure it out on that end.
Josh, you would have thought Doc Rivers and I were debating one another on my show. I interviewed him earlier in the season. He tried to say it's not that important that Ben Simmons shoots. I beg to differ. I think if they're going to win the championship or even get out of the East, he's got to shoot the ball effectively and develop a perimeter shot. Do you agree with that?
I do. I agree. It's why I just made the point, Stephen A. Listen, I don't think he's got to be a 25 points per game scorer. But I do believe when you look at the regression in attempts for him from outside the painted area, it becomes something that your opponent can manipulate, that your opponent can target, and that your opponent can take advantage of. And again, let's just talk about a 12 to 15-foot jump shot. Think about Magic Johnson that one summer deciding from both sides at the angle he was going to be able to kiss it off the glass and make himself a threat.